Welcome in, Broncos Country, to this mailbag edition of the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports, which airs every single Tuesday at 4 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Mountain Time. Now, before we get started, as you always do, you always come through for me. Hit that thumbs up on the video. Expands the channel, and it's like taking your shoes off when you walk into someone's house. Completely polite. Now, we are going to get into our questions here. Josh, he says, better receiver in 2 years, Troy Franklin or Pat Bryant? Excellent question. They play different styles of football. Troy Franklin is more the guy that you're going to line up in the slot, more over the middle of the field, a little bit of a smaller frame, but kind of that more lateral quickness that you're looking for, whereas Pat Bryant is silky smooth. Reminds you a lot of Michael Thomas, a guy that can, just make it look so effortless, and he also has unbelievable hands. That high point of attack for Pat Bryant is going to be his strength going forward in his NFL career. He is going to come down with so many contested catches, it's not even going to be close. I love the prospect that Pat Bryant is. So, as you can kind of tell, I'm going to say Pat Bryant becomes the better of the two here in the next couple of seasons, but I am expecting big things from Troy Franklin heading into year 2 as well. Thank you, Josh, for the question. Danny, which running back should you draft in fantasy first, and which round, J.K. Dobbins or R.J. Harvey? I'm going to say R.J. Harvey, and I'm going to say you could draft R.J. Harvey in round 4 or round 5. R.J. Harvey's going to be a really good RB2, and here's why. Fantasy football is a very different game than what your typical NFL fan thinks of the NFL. It's all about hyper productivity. Guys that can do multiple things and get yards and points. So you don't want to have a player that is strictly just a running back. You want a player that is more of that hybrid back that you're looking for, that pass catcher like a Christian McCaffrey or an Alvin Kamara. And I think R.J. Harvey fits that mold far better than J.K. Dobbins will. Now, J.K. Dobbins might be a better runner, straight out of the gates, or might be a better runner of the football this season instead of R.J. Harvey. But when it comes to that dual threat ability, I would say you'd probably be better off drafting R.J. Harvey, but J.K. Dobbins would be a round 5 or round 6 pick, in my opinion, as well. Appreciate your question, Danny. Thanks for being a fan of the show. Aiden, how many more years do you think we got to deal with Mahomes until he retires or leaves the Chiefs? How much time do you got, my friend? He's going to be here for, barring any major injury, he's going to be here for the next 10 years. Unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. This is a guy that he's going to get paid whatever he wants by this Chiefs organization for the rest of eternity. I mean, they're going to continue to pay him over and over and over again. And for good reason. He's won 3 Super Bowls, right? Like, we're talking about one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history. He's already a solidified Hall of Famer. You don't win 3 Super Bowls, put up the numbers that he has, and, just suddenly get dropped off the face of the earth. So probably 10 more years, I would say 7 at minimum. I hope that helps, but unfortunately, that's just the cards we were dealt as Broncos fans. I'm just existing. Why is Bo Nix so disrespected? Bo Nix had 34 touchdowns, 200 total yards less than Jaden Daniels, and just less completion percentage than Daniels. And just slightly less, I'm assuming is what he means. So Nix is a solid quarterback, but Daniels is the next Brady? I'm assuming that what you're saying is that it is kind of unbelievable to think that there's that much hype around Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix is getting disrespected. And here's what I will say. I think you're half right and you're half wrong. I do believe there is a lot of Bo Nix disrespect, but Jaden Daniels is a really good quarterback. He's one of the only quarterbacks in my lifetime that really hasn't gone through a rookie slump. The rookie growing pains were almost non-existent for him. I think it was by week 2. He was like in the prime of his, he looked like he was in prime form, like he was already, just splash touchdown in the NFL. Bo took a little bit longer. Now, the second half of the season, Bo really came into his own, and I believe longevity-wise, Bo Nix is going to have a far better career than Jaden Daniels will. In the next 7 years, give me Bo Nix all day and twice on Sunday. But Jaden is a far more dynamic player. Jaden is a quote-unquote more fun player to watch. But you could have fun all day. I'll take the efficiency. I'll take the guy that understands how to manipulate the pocket. I'll take the bigger, stronger, better build quarterback over the longevity of my NFL career. And you could put that in your pipe and smoke it twice. Sorry, Jaden Daniels fans. That's just my thought. Thank you, I'm just existing. Sponge blur. Kind of like that. Should the Broncos consider trading for Darnell Washington after the Miami-Pittsburgh mega trade? Oh boy. All right, let's talk about this. So Darnell Washington is currently the tight end for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, and he was a 2023 draft pick in the third round by the Steelers, and his rookie season didn't do much. It was almost kind of non-existent. He had only 7 catches his rookie season. But last year, you kind of saw at least a glimmer of hope from Darnell Washington, right? He's a good blocking tight end. He can add that little extra, bit there on the offensive line as a blocker, but also can be a red zone threat, in my opinion, albeit they didn't use him properly last year in Pittsburgh. And now with Aaron Rodgers, I don't know how much that, what do you want to call it? That relationship is going to blossom, is going to bloom. It doesn't feel like the right fit for me, at least not in Pittsburgh. Now, I will go on to say that the Broncos were listed as a trade destination for Darnell Washington. In fact, Zach Segar said this specifically about the trade. The Broncos should consider making a trade for Pittsburgh Steelers tight end Darnell Washington. The former Georgia Bulldog, where he was an absolute dog, no pun intended, is heading into his 3rd season in the NFL with the Steelers and is known for his excellent blocking ability, both as a run blocker and in pass protection. The trade proposal has the Broncos acquiring Washington for a 2027 6th-round pick, while an alternative offer sees the Broncos picking up Washington and a 2026 round pick for Adam Trautman and a 2026 5th-round pick. All right, let's talk about it for a second, because I actually don't hate the trade idea. Call me a little bit of a skeptic here, but I feel like for upside, Washington's got far more than Trautman ever did. But I don't see the value in trading for a guy like Darnell Washington despite his upside. There wasn't enough productivity on the field for me to garner giving up a player like Trautman and draft capital when really they kind of matched each other. I mean, that's kind of the exact stat line that we were talking about with Adam Trautman last season. So just based off of what we've seen prior, you'd be basically getting Adam Trautman for Adam Trautman. Now, like I said, the upside is definitely there for Washington. Heading into year 3, he's got a far higher potential to be great than Trautman does. I fully believe that. But I just don't see the value in it right this moment. But I'm going to ask you this question. Should the Broncos trade for Darnell Washington? Yes or no? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm saying no right now, but obviously with the upside that I could see from Trautman, I wouldn't be too upset if the Broncos ended up making this. So I'm going to say no, but if the Broncos did this deal, I wouldn't be upset about it whatsoever. Now, let me tell you guys about the deal going on right now at Fanatics. Not only can you get sweet stuff like customizable jerseys, but you can get this awesome Broncos hoodie, which is still on sale. I checked, 40% off right now. And all you got to do is use the link that I've put in the comments and description of today's video. Just go to chatsports.com/Broncos hoodie. Made it super easy for you. Start shopping for the 2025 season and gear up for the upcoming year for the Broncos. All right, Alpha Wolf coming in next. Do you think we are set on offense? Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to say I would like one more splash at wide receiver. Now, I have said multiple times that I trust the Broncos' young receiving corps to take the next step. I really do. So I'm not saying the Broncos need to do this, but I feel like it could add that little extra cherry on top, that little extra je ne sais quoi in order to take them from what everyone believes is a playoff team to a Super Bowl contender. And I think maybe going out and signing a guy like Keenan Allen, who says no? 1 year, $8 million deal. The Broncos have the cap space to do it. Go out and make a splash signing. Go ahead and make that last deal. Get somebody that can absolutely dominate the game at the wide receiver position from the slot. I think it makes perfect sense. But then again, I'm not George Payton. I'm not Sean Payton. I can only give you my opinion. Appreciate it, Alpha. Biggie, if the Broncos were to trade Jaquan McMillan, what do you think they would get? So we've explored Jaquan McMillan trades on this channel before. And honestly, for a starting caliber nickel corner, I could see the Broncos getting a 4th or a 5th round pick for Jaquan McMillan. I really could. I think he's a very solid NFL starter. I think you have to kind of look at trade compensation and draft capital compensation from different trades that have been made. And what did Jalen Ramsey get, producer Dylan? Was it a 3rd? I think it was a 3rd that Jalen Ramsey went for. But, Jaquan McMillan is not as good as Jalen Ramsey. So you'd have to, lower the compensation just a little bit. So I would say a 4th or a 5th round pick, probably somewhere in that 5th round pick. But again, I don't want to trade Jaquan McMillan. I feel like him and Jahdae Barron, as they rotate in that nickel corner spot, I think it's going to be one of the best nickel corner duos in the entire NFL, hands down. So I don't want to trade him, but if you were to trade him, probably a 4th or a 5th round pick. I'm just existing one more time, and after this, we will end today's episode. What do you think about Mims and Sutton? 1,000 yards plus each this season. Ooh, I like the way your head's at. Courtland Sutton's going to do it. Mark my words. It's not even going to be close. He's going to have one of the best seasons of his career. Mims, that's a little bit more tricky. I think it can happen, but I think you really have to prioritize the deep ball then, especially for Marvin Mims. His speed and athleticism to take the top off of defenses has to be utilized by Sean Payton and Bo Nix. You can't be, throwing the ball 10 to 15 yards to Marvin Mims. He's just not that great of a route runner. He's getting better, but he really exceeds in the deep ball. So maybe, you really start to prioritize some go routes or some skinny posts and see what he can do at the line of scrimmage, beating guys, off the line of scrimmage. I think it's possible. Likelihood, 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10 right now. I'm about 50-50 on the fence. That's going to do it for us on today's episode of the Broncos Breakdown mailbag episode. Remember to like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and as always, be cool.